Spiritual Activator, coming to you live. And today I want to talk about how to release and clear blockages when it comes to love, okay? So this is something that I get a lot, because if you get it right, and if you are able to clear the blockages of love, then whether it's romantically, whether it's with friends, whether it's family, whether it's internal self-love, it's gonna be amazing. You're gonna wake up every single day fulfilled. People around you are gonna be radiating love. You're not gonna be chasing it, it's gonna be coming to you. If you figure it out. On the other hand, if you don't figure it out, and you have your old programmings and blocks, whether that's mentally, emotionally, energetically, to love, then what ends up happening is you actually repel the kind of love that you want, and you're attracting people to you who are either narcissistic or toxic or dysfunctional. So it's very important that we deal with the common blockages to love. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. So in the meantime, we're going to wait for you all to pop on here. If you can see me and hear me, comment yes and yes below. Let me know. All right, making sure that we're good on the audio end of things. All right, and if you have any questions that come up, just post it here as well. So when it comes to love, I've heard it a lot, but I've also been through, that what I've heard a lot of people go through is, when you start off, you got a big heart, you want to help, you want to give, and during the first part of your life, for the first few chapters, you get into this relationships where you're drained and you people please, and you can't be all of you, and you literally are a chameleon. You're changing who you are to be loved, to accept love, to receive love. There's so many different rules, and we want it. We don't want to lose it, so we keep shifting and shaking until we're left with something that's not us. And that happened to me one day. I had a savior mentality, right? And it's something that I had to be conscious about. Looking back, I got it from my mom, who loves to help, who loves to just pretty much, she sees someone in pain, she wants to save them. So I got that, and if you can resonate, let me know, right? It's good. Self-awareness key is super, super important. So she wanted to save and help a lot of people. So I had that same thing. So what ended up happening? I gave out that vibe, and for some reason, I attracted everybody and anyone that needed to be saved, wanted to be saved. And the thing is, it becomes a dance, because when you're trying to help people, at first you're like, oh wow, do you really need help? Let me do everything I can all the time. They're in pain. You start doing everything you can, that you don't actually give them a chance to succeed or to get better, because you fill in that void, right? And when you fill in a void for somebody once, great. But if you keep doing it over and over and over and over again, you become their drug of choice, pretty much, right? And what I did without knowing it was just enabling somebody to stay the same, because I didn't create the space for them to really choose to get better. So I went from friendships and relationships to where literally it was all wow, it's the same issues. People needing to be saved, people that weren't open to love, people that had their hearts closed, people that at times were vicious. And I was there trying to change, not knowing back then how real change works, right? So it came to a point where one day I looked at the mirror and I'm like, this is not me. And I looked at there and I couldn't see myself. There was no part of me left, right? And I was like, wow, I people please too much. I've given everything, I'm running on empty. This isn't even me. And when you get to that point, you feel empty, and you spiral into, I was spiraling into dark places because I lost my light, I lost my love. And that was one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, is space, is that you've got to, if you're, you love helping, you love giving, and you're just somebody who's with a big heart, then one of our best friends is space and time to think. Because when we're around people, we get influenced by their energy, because we want to help out of the best intention. So we were like, okay, we get sucked into that reality. Well, we need space and time. So one of the lessons that I've learned is, if you're the type that can easily get wrapped up in other people's stuff, give yourself time and space to be, right? By yourself. Maybe you're taking an hour or a day or a few days just by yourself, just to, so you know what's yours and you know what's not yours. That's the most important thing. And when you're starting to gain your power back and really step into who you are, like, you're gonna get used to creating space for people to where you love them, but you love them enough to create space, and that void, like, motivates them, inspires them, or gives them the opportunity and a chance to actually do something, right? Because if we need to help somebody, we want, because the thing is, here's the thing. If we're always the savior, if we're always someone that wants to help and wants to fix, guess what? Okay, that's an identity, right? I'm a helper, I'm a fixer. That has its own mind, that has its own paradigms, the way you think. I'm gonna save and fix everybody. You have the emotions of, like, when somebody needs to be saved or helped, you're like, I'm gonna go fix, I'm gonna go help. And you have the actions, right? But everything, the identity, the story, the thoughts, the emotions, the actions, all of them are attached to an energy, because frequency is attached to everything that we do, everything that we feel. Every thought has a frequency, every energy has a frequency, every action or lack of action has a frequency. So guess what? If all that is given out a frequency of, I want to save, I want to help, guess what you're going to attract? You're going to be surrounded by friends and people who need to be helped. And I'm not saying that that's the wrong thing to do, right? But you have to understand the cycle or why things keep showing up the way to do. And if you want to change it, then you have to be conscious, or start being conscious of literally what's showing up, right? So you can change the pattern. So for me, I realized, okay, I love to help. I don't want to stop that. But I want to help people that can help themselves. And I don't want to be surrounded by people that I have to help all the time, right? I want a life, because there needs to be that flow that you're receiving back to you. So one big lesson I learned is, with my nature, instead of shutting off your heart, because trust me, I shut off my heart when I was like, you know what, this is painful. Shut it off. A whole slew of problems that you don't even want to have. You don't want it. So the solution that I've learned, instead of shutting off your heart, because when you do, like, literally, like, you start attracting even another set of folks. Because shutting your heart in itself isn't the solution. It might seem like it, but you're starting to attract people with closed hearts, or who can dance with that energy. So that's not the solution either. The solution is learning how to have boundaries, meaning to say, learning how to create space, learning, if you're a people pleaser like me, it's hard to say no. So it's yes and. So if someone says, hey, can we do this? Yes, and not today, maybe in a few days. Because it was hard. So for me, straight no's, super hard. Maybes, super hard. Yes, and it was a step closer, right? So creating space is one of them. Second is literally one of the big things that I've seen that was a pattern in me that was blocking love, right? Blocking love was, I had a hard time receiving love. That means when it came to people wanting to give me compliments, wanting to give me gifts, wanting to do something nice, like, it was hard. My heart was closed. Like, I thought to myself, like, I don't know if I want to, like, I don't know what was playing in my head back then, but it was stuff to where, like, I just felt uncomfortable, right? Because I grew up in a family to where, like, there was not a lot of, like, emotional talks in terms of, like, I love you, I appreciate you, and these sentimental talks were, in my family, were just not a part of the culture, right? It was mostly gifts. It was mostly like, yeah, we get gifts, but it was mostly teasing and fun, but nothing really, really deep. So when it came time to expressing emotions, I'm like, I cringed. But what I realized, right, is that in order to really get the love that you want, and I'm talking about get not as a person, but to experience it. If you want to experience it, the kind of love that fuels you, that fills you up, that's food and oxygen to and for your soul, you've got to learn how to receive. Meaning to say, when someone gives a compliment, like, instead of saying, no, thank you, or it's not true, or giving them a compliment. How many of you do this? I know I do this. Like, someone gives me a compliment, it's like, oh yeah, your outfit looks great too. Instead of being like, putting your hand over your heart and being like, I fully receive. And I had to get used to that. It was weird, but I had to be like, someone gave me a compliment, I take a deep breath and hands over the heart and be like, thank you, I fully receive, without having to be like, oh, they gave me a compliment, let me give it back so it's equal. Which sometimes is like, that was my thing. It's like, someone gave me a compliment, I was like, I was like a little uneasy, but That was me signaling to the universe, God, higher power, whatever you believe in, right? That I didn't want to receive. I didn't want love. I didn't want connection, right? So for me, that was a big one, is I had to start receiving. And a lot of times, I started off with intentions because I knew I had blocks. And the things I didn't know what the blocks were at that time. Now I know. I didn't know what the blocks were. I didn't know how deep it got, right? I didn't know the source. But what I realized is that you don't need to. You don't need to know the source of your blocks. You don't need to know what happened, where it happened. It's not where it gets solved, right? A lot of times that I've seen this happen to where if we set a very, very pure intention and we set it in a place to where we're doing it from really a genuine, authentic, and we mean it, it just does the trick. It's so simple. And this is one of the things that I overcomplicated a lot because I thought there was a lot of steps. We're taught in society that if you want to shift something, if you want to heal, if you want to transform it, you need to know everything and relive it. And it's simply not true, because the reality is, here's the thing. I read somewhere before that, at every second, and it was a study that I read, every single second we are exposed to, I think it was a crazy amount. I think it was 40,000 or some crazy amount pieces of information and data, right? At any given point. That's what we're exposed to. Like whether it's signals, thoughts, frequencies, things that are coming, energy, right? And at any given second, we're only consciously aware of 40 of them. 40 out of 40,000 per second. That means consciously we are missing out on 99.9%, right? And guess what? The things that we do know, we still get overwhelmed, don't we? Our to-do list, sometimes it's hard to finish it, and we suffer from analysis paralysis and too much information and information overload with the 0.000 1% that we know, right? That means that even if we tried our best to remember everything and the source of the pain and the source of why our hearts are closed and traumas are closed, even if we get that perfect, guess what? The 99.9999% we're not even aware of. So it's not even possible, right? So a lot of the times is realizing that sometimes our logical mind isn't what's going to solve it, right? And what is better is just to go with a higher power. So for me, if I am lost and I don't know the source and I don't know how to shift it, how to release it, I set a very, very pure intention. And my intention is I just say it, and you can say it in your own words. You can use my words, you can say it in your own words, but the words almost don't matter as much as your pure desire when you say it. And for me, I'm I remember back when I was, 2015, I was in my a marriage back then to where it was I've given my all. It was almost 10 years, and I'm like, you know what? This isn't for me, right? This just isn't, and it was for the highest good for me to leave that relationship, right? And it was what my higher self and my soul was screaming, to me and it was been doing that for a while. But I had a hard time, and the reason why I was having a hard time is because I grew up in a family where you don't do divorces. You marriage is an important thing. You don't do divorces, and you just stick it out and you help. But deep down inside, I just felt that was not longer the case, and that was not my truth. And I fought it for a while till I realized, you know what? If I don't do this, I won't have any part of my soul left. I won't have any part of me left. So I did it. And my motivation back then was my son, who's now 10, but he was 3 or 4 then. I'm like, wow, if I stay in this relationship and I keep going, my son is going to model this, and he's going to see me not standing my power, and going to feel it, and he's going to one day be in a place where he's probably going to experience, losing himself or some sort of pain, and he will look at what I did and realize, Dad stayed, so should I, right? So I wanted to be a great example. So for me, I was like, okay, step one, I took time. I was like, I'm going to Sedona. So I went on a road trip, and I went to Sedona by myself, and I didn't know what was going to happen, but I just set a very, very pure intention that, I am going to go here, and I'm going to release everything that's blocking my heart. I'm going to release it, and I'm ready to let go of it, okay? And I want to fill it back up with love for me. So that was my intention. I didn't know what was gonna happen. It was the most transformational trips I've ever had. I ended up, like going on top of the vortex and writing down the names of, and typically, our blockages, like, come from like a long list. So for me, I remember going there and I didn't even know what I was gonna do. I went on top of a vortex, climbed it, and I had a pen and paper and I wrote down every single person I can think of that's hurt me way back when I was even a kid. And every single rejection, every single, bully, every single, person ridiculed, and big or small, things that have hurt. My grandmother passing away. I mean, everything that has caused my heart to close or was something that was painful, I wrote it down. And at the end, I just, I said, I crumpled. I said, I finally release all of this. I'm finally ready to let go. And a part of me honestly was holding on, because the reality is, if I were honest, like in looking back, I not loved, but I was comfortable holding on to those pain, because for me, back then, if I thought if I forgave somebody, that it would have made it right, that it would have made whatever, pain they caused me justified. So I held on to that resentment. But that resentment was eating me up, and it was attracting more and more and more and more people just like that. So I had to let go. I fully let go. And I was like, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I will. So I did that, set an intention. And for the next several days, it was like, I found myself. I was like laughing. I was crying. I was journaling. I was like, I was writing poetry again. I was slowly but surely releasing. And as I released, part of me came back, and more of me came back, and more love came, right? Because I was now vulnerable, and then I started doing the things that I love, like, things that I enjoyed. Like I really went all in on that. I was like, whatever it is that I'm expecting to get from somebody else, I'm not gonna wait for them to do it. I'm gonna do it now. So I started living, like, during that entire week, I lived every single day, several times a day. It didn't matter if I overdid it. I was like, I'm gonna put my rules on how often I should do self-care and self-love. I'm just gonna do it, right? I love watching movies, so I'm gonna watch. I love connecting with friends. Let me connect and have really soulful conversations. Like, I love, like, going for a walk. Let me go for a walk. I love crystals. Let me go to a crystal shop. I love music. Let me go listen to music. Like, I just, like, I love massages. Let me get a massage. I love water in the hot tub. Let me go spend time. So I did all that, and what ended up happening is few things. Okay, it released the intention. I was able to release all the things that I was holding on to, and then I was able to fill it back up with actions that I could control, not external stuff, but within me. And I started doing the things that made me happy, that I enjoyed, that set my soul on fire. So the important part is, like, the first part was the intention, because intentions are more important than affirmations. In my mind, affirmations, you can just say it over and over and over again. You can say it 1,000, 2,000 times, it won't work. But if you have a pure intention and you say it from a place of heartfelt purity, and you mean it, like, it is equivalent to saying 500 affirmations 10,000 times over a span of 3 days, because that might not even work. So for me, affirmations are not as powerful as intentions. And my intention was, I want to release. I am ready and open to release all the blocks that are holding me back from experiencing love now. And you can say that. And you can say it in your own words, but mean it. Mean it, right? And when I did that, and I started that, creating the space, going somewhere where I could pretty much release and find myself. That was an important one. Second one was setting that pure intention. The third was acting on it, because when I got those names, I wrote all of them down and I released, no matter how hard it was. Sometimes I even had a hard time writing the names, because it was so painful. I didn't want to release it. I wanted to hold on to that pain, because it fueled my identity for protection and my story for a long time. So I felt very vulnerable releasing all that stuff, because I was like, shoot, like, by releasing all this stuff, I'm putting down my weapons of defense, and I could get hurt. But in reality, I found myself, and I loved myself and I was happy. And it came to a point to where I didn't know what the next day was gonna bring, and I didn't care because I was living in the moment. And I wasn't looking for love. Really wasn't, because at that point I was just so raw and so just sore from releasing and you know, and when you're releasing stuff, emotions go through you and you're like, holy crap. You know, that wasn't fun. Right? So I did that. And I did that for 7 days. Went all in, did the releases, and wrote it all down. Okay, and then afterwards, like, you know, it was just like, it was, you kind of tap into something that's familiar because you've done it for a long time. You just haven't done it in a while. And typically we don't do this because we have rules on why we shouldn't do it. Right? We shouldn't get a massage. We shouldn't do self-care. We shouldn't take time for ourselves. We shouldn't do this because you've got work, you've got life happening, and you have all these rules of why you can't do it. So the thing is, like, having a just a getaway from the normal scenario gave me like permission to be like, all right, I'm just gonna do it. Because when you're on a vacation, right, then all the rules kind of go out. So for me, I wasn't in a place back then to where I could be like, oh, I'm just gonna do this every single day because it's who I am. I had to have context first, baby steps. And that context allowed me to be like, all right, I'm on a vacation, I'm in a eat, pray, love, kind of moment, then it's okay to do this, right? Again, because that's how typically you're people pleaser, right? Like myself, like that's the steps. Sometimes we don't go right away to, I'm gonna have my boundaries and love myself and do self-care and be strong and be able to speak our truth. Like I couldn't go from 0 to 120. It was such an identity conflict. So I had to create the context to make me feel okay with it. But let me tell you, all right, the blessing behind all of this, because after I did that, and after I was able to after I was able to do that, 4 days later, my wife now, I met her. She came into my life. I wasn't even looking for love, but because I loved myself and because I released all the pain and all the trauma and all that heaviness was released and filled back up with me, right? Our energies were able to find each other, right? And that's the way I look at it. It's energy. Think about it as it's like a radio dial, because I like a radio dial to where, like, when you turn one to another song, you hear pop. Turn it again, it's hip hop. Turn it again, it's blues. Turn it again, it's jazz. Right now, wherever you are, all this is existing already, but you're not hearing the song. You can't hear it. You can't hear the instruments because they exist in a certain frequency. And before I was in the strip, I was in a certain frequency, and it was of, shame and pain and fear and inadequacy and afraid of being abandoned and protection and being closed off and and really like helping people and doing things with an ulterior motive. For me, I was like, if I help somebody, a lot, and I'm just there for them, and I do whatever they want and be whoever they want, then they won't hurt me because why would they, right? I'm pretty much pleasing them and I'm doing everything, then I'll be safe, right? When the reality is, it was inauthentic. And it didn't work, because how many of you guys have done that and then you still get hurt? You realize, shoot, I did all that, I changed myself for nothing because I still get hurt, right? So it never work. So for me, I realized, when I realized this, again, within 4 days, I met, my wife now. She showed up in my life because by releasing the blocks mentally, emotionally, energetically, and doing the actions myself to fill my own cup, my own needs, it put me in a frequency to where my wife now, that's where she was, to where we had both found each other already in that frequency, because we were both, at that point, we were both looking for growth, growth partners, so we can grow together. We were both had a big heart with a purpose. We wanted to serve humanity, and we were both working, we were recovering people pleasers. So we were working on self-love, self-care, and filling our own cups before like, and our own needs and meeting it before sharing it with each other, and not having the whole "you complete me, I have a void, I need you to fill it." It has become, I have a void, I'm gonna fill it, and then I'm gonna give the extra. I'm gonna give the overflow. So there's none of that coming in, wanting something that we already have within, that we literally were made of love and light, but we sometimes forget about it, and we forget to replenish our hearts and our souls, right? So that was a big lesson for me, and that's my story. I mean, it's nothing fancy, really. I mean, the principles are so simple, right? It's not a super complicated 7-step affirmation that you gotta do 10,000 times a day. It was literally, I created space. I went to a place that created space. It gave me time to think. So when I'm around other people, my judgment gets clouded. I feel what they feel. And instead of taking care of my needs, I take care of them because it's how I'm wired. So I knew that, so I had to get away. And when I was there, I had no steps. My first step was setting an intention, a heartfelt intention, which I did. And when I did that, the next step came up. Got a release, wrote the names down. It was hard, but I did it. I took action, wrote every single name down. And it was done. Some names I didn't even want to write. It was so painful. I wrote them down. And then I released it. And then went through the motions. Mentally, emotionally, the roller coaster of emotions of releasing people that have hurt you, right? And the crying and the laughing and all that stuff. Nostalgic moments, it was all there. And then I started doing the things that filled my soul, that made me happy, that made me me. I did it unapologetically, without any rules, right? Without holding back. And back then I did it because the context was easier, right? This is me healing and finding myself. And then when I was done, and I was rewarded. Whatever was meant for me found me. I didn't have to chase it. I didn't have to force it. I didn't have to beg for love. I didn't have to be someone I was not. I just had to be all of me. And guess what? When you're all of you, you start attracting people who love all of you, all of who you are. And let me tell this. Right now, there are people in the world that you can change who you are. You can people please them to the death of you. And you will never be enough for them. Because they're the wrong ones for you. And there's somebody out there and people out there, whether it's a soulmate, a twin flame, a best friend, a friend, soul family, or community, to where who you are, all of you, like the dark, the light, whatever you perceive it as, things that you love about yourself, things that you're ashamed of, all of you, the full colors of the rainbow, all of them, that they've been searching for that. They actually love it. They crave it. It's a match. And all of you, as yourself, will fulfill their needs and they'd enjoy you, and vice versa. You won't have to change yourself. All you have to do is be all of you, which is hard, right? But that's where the breakthrough happens. That's where the magic happens. That's where the opportunity is. And I'm doing this video here today just to remind you that, if you were never enough, for people, they were the wrong ones. But for the right ones, you are beyond enough. You are the one that, that they want in their lives. They wouldn't want to change you. They would actually hold you accountable to be all of you. That makes sense, right? So those are my thoughts for today. I hope this was helpful. And my goal is to just reach more people and share, messages of love and transformation. So if this is something that you feel is gonna help somebody else, tag them below or share it with them, and hopefully it helps them out. All right. Thanks so much for joining me here. I love you all. And remember, when you heal yourself, you heal others, and you also heal the world.